appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose. Tonight, we have a very special guest, Juanita Haney. She's running for treasurer. We got a whole lot of guests coming up. I'm not going to go through them because, frankly, it's a lot. I'm actually very, very proud of my team. They've been able to really lock down a lot of what I feel are crucial conversations so that we can have educated voters going into the primary. So that's awesome. This is one of our series of candid conversations with candidates. I really like alliteration. So it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Juanita Haney. She is running for LaPorte County Treasurer. Do me a favor, give her a warm welcome. Hi.
Hello.
All right, just so everyone, let me make sure here because I did that a little fast. Okay, it's all right. I wanted everyone to see your campaign sign, but we're going to make sure to link how they can learn more about you and everything. So you're Juanita Haney. You're the wife of the, at least in LaPorte, famous Commissioner Joe Haney. He's quite a handful.
I live with him.
Right, exactly. So I'm sure it's even more of a handful for you, but you have decided that you're going to run for office.
Yeah. I decided about a year ago to run for this office.
Okay, so it definitely wasn't a spur of the moment. Before the filing date's over.
No. I watched, I listened, and been hearing things, and I was not happy with what I was hearing. And I saw the way the citizens were treated. I watched a commissioner meeting. Well, I was at a commissioner meeting, and I was very disappointed in what was going on. And I said, somebody's got to fix this mess. And I talked to our party chair at a 4th of July party. And I said, I'm thinking about running for treasurer. What do you think about that? And he said, I think you should. And I said, I'm going to. And he goes, okay. And that's what we did.
Right. Awesome. So for those viewers who may not have, maybe didn't get a chance to read the bio that was posted, cats are a very important part of your life. We hear them. I myself am a cat lover. So every time I hear the little meow, I get all, I'm, this big, tough, angry guy, allegedly, until I see a little kitten. Then, it's all kitty. Oh my goodness.
This is
Look how adorable.
I'm in a nursery right now.
So how many, I know that you rescue cats. I've heard about this, for a while, but the viewers may not have.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit and what kind of got you into that.
Actually, I've been rescuing cats since elementary school.
Okay. All right.
My first rescue was in the 2nd, 3rd grade.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's what my parents said.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
I was in school, and there was a little kitten by the cafeteria, and the kids were kind of mean to it. The cafeteria workers were feeding it, but yeah, the kids were really mean. They were throwing stuff at it and chasing it down. Well, you know how kids can be.
Right.
And I felt really bad for it. So after school, I kind of snuck back over to the cafeteria, and I picked up this little kitten, and I kind of threw it in my backpack, and on the bus we went, took it home. And the bus driver hears meow, meow, meow. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
And
that was before cell phones where you could play it off like it was not a lot before, but yeah.
You didn't hear anything. I get home and my mom's hearing meow, meow, meow when I get off the bus. And she's like, do you have a cat in your backpack? And I'm like, she's like, you got a cat in your backpack. And I'm like, maybe. She just opens my backpack. She goes, you got to take that back. And I'm like, it needs help. So she talked to my dad, and we ended up keeping little kitten, and it grew, and and it all was downhill from there. But
It usually is with animals.
yeah, so
Yeah. So how many do you have now? Like, do you have a full like complement or?
I live on a farm,
Uh-huh.
and I have a barn, and well, with this kitten and current fosters, I'm like at 12 or so cats.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot. So I'm sure that keeps you pretty busy. I mean, I know it would keep me busy with all the kitty cat petting. I mean,
Yeah. Well, we have the barn, and we have barn cats, and I do TNR. So whenever they need a barn, you see all the time people are looking for a barn, or so I try to help when I can.
yeah.
I can't take every cat, and it sucks because I really want to help.
Right. I know. I'm the same way. My wife has been very adamant. No more cats.
Yeah, my husband too, sadly.
Right.
I
What is
ended
up
up
with that?
I ended up with this one here. It was actually, it wasn't me. It was kind of Joe, and I kind of told him, like, she needs help. She needs help. And I gave him the puppy dog eyes, and I said, look at her. It's 20 degrees outside. We got to help her. And he's like, okay. And so,
Right.
we picked her up. We brought her home. We had no idea she was pregnant.
Oh no.
Yeah. So we found out she was pregnant, and she's just a baby herself. As you've seen her, she's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
When we picked her up in February, she's probably about 5 months old. And
Aw.
unfortunately, she had premature birth, and we lost 5 of the 6 kittens, which broke my heart. But we have one little kitten left, and we're taking care of it. And it's 4 weeks old. It was 4 weeks old Monday. So I was really worried that it wasn't going to make it. And I was so stressed out. I'm like, oh gosh, right in the middle of a primary campaign, I got to keep this kitten alive.
So what is TNR for those who may not know?
Trap, neuter, and release. A lot of people get mad at that because they want to trap, neuter, and take away. And you don't want to do that.
Right.
It's very bad, and people don't understand that, because when you take away, you have a vacuum effect.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a vacuum effect. So when you trap, neuter, return, right?
Mm-hmm.
You keep the population down, you keep disease down, because when we take them away, they get all their vaccines. If they have anything, they get treated for whatever they have. So it not only controls the population, it takes down the aggression because they've been neutered.
Right.
So it helps with that. And then you don't have it population, building up, because you fixed them. So they're not breeding and breeding and breeding.
Right.
And then you don't have the vacuum effect because they will keep their colony. So
yeah. I had someone else. I don't remember who. Maybe it was Joe. That was talking about the trap, neuter, and release, program, and how much it helps and all the things that it does. And I learned a lot from that discussion, because my thought was just get rid of the stray cats. What's the problem? No, it's actually much, much better. Like you said,
I'm an advocate even for pet owners to spay and neuter your pet, because you don't know, accidents happen. They can escape your home. You want your pet to be fixed, because it also helps the health of your pet. People don't realize that either, but it does. It helps the health of your pet. So I strongly advocate getting your pet fixed. Yeah.
So what other interests that do you have time for besides the animal rescue?
Well, I have a vast array of hobbies, actually.
Okay.
As I said, I grew up on a sugar farm.
Okay.
So it allotted me a lot of time to explore things that I like to do, because I had no siblings between my mom and dad, so it was just me in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, that an idle mind.
So I read a lot.
Okay.
I always read. I'm usually reading 2 to 3 books at a time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I view books, like, a lot of people ask me, like, how can you read like 2 different books or 2 or 3 books at once? It's actually not that bad. You watch 2 or 3 shows at once.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing. It's not really any different. So yeah, and I like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like to read books that you learn from. So nonfiction.
Okay, so that was my question. What's your favorite genre? Do you like
Now I will read
like
fiction.
historical? Okay.
I will read fiction. Actually, I read Stephen King books. Not
Okay.
recent Stephen King books because he's kind of went sideways.
Yeah. He went nuts like a lot of people did, but I loved his old stuff, especially like the Richard Bachman when he was
Running Man.
Running Man.
Yeah.
There were a couple other ones, one of which is now banned, Rage.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Every book that he's written, even recent books. I didn't read Holly. I was gonna read it. I was slated to read Holly. That's his newest one. But after I read the reviews on it and where he went, I was like, yeah, I'm not wasting my time reading that.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good. I'm good.
No, because I read the one before that, and I was like, yeah, no.
I really enjoyed The Stand. That was I read that one. I had that one for years and years and years. Was a well-loved book. So yeah.
Rose Madder. A lot of people don't know about that one.
Yeah.
That was a really good book. Rose Madder.
Here's the thing. I don't agree with him politically nowadays, and I think he's kind of nuts, but he has had some really, really good books.
Yeah, he's a good author. His imagination is pretty out there, and it all seems cohesive, and it comes together in the end. And so if I'm going to read something like that, that's not going to teach me something, because knowledge is like what I'm after.
Okay.
I love knowledge and I love learning things. I think we should always be learning no matter what age we are. I homeschooled my kids. So I think knowledge is it's like power. Like knowledge is power, your brain power, and you should always be learning. So if you're not going to be learning something, you're going to read something for entertainment, which you need some entertainment in your life. We all need, break. I like to read stuff like that. But then again, I like murder shows, but I like true crimes, not like fake stuff. So
yeah. So but you know what though? As much as I like something like Forensic Files or the various true crime sorts of stuff, I gotta admit I do occasionally like me some some CSI or some little more out there kind of fake
like science
stuff,
fiction.
It's entertaining.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
I'm waiting for Civil War. I wanna see that. I've been waiting for that.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah. The new one, the 2020.
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a reviewer that I watch who recently said meh about it, but I haven't actually watched his review of it, The Critical Drinker. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Did they review Leave the World Behind?
He did.
What did you get?
He was like, I liked it, but in my opinion, some of the more esoteric kind of threads that left dangling could have been wrapped up better. He's like, I didn't dislike it. I liked it. There was some really good stuff in it.
Yeah.
But it was more of like I would say trying to think of the word, like a construction type issue, the way that it was made, rather than pushing an agenda.
I like the thought process. I like where they were going with it.
Yeah, that's what he said. I liked how they went with it, and I liked the stuff they talked about and the things that happened. But and there was some really good cinematography involved. But as far as wrapping this up or wrapping that up, I think they could have done a better job.
But that also leads you to your imagination, and you can just finish it however the heck you want.
And that's the other thing. And that actually is really, really common in a lot of the better movies and TV shows, is they give you just enough to where you can, assume the ending, whatever makes you happy kind of thing.
And that when the girl ended in the bunker with finally getting to see her show.
There you go.
Yeah. And my one of my favorite movies actually is Apocalypto.
Oh, okay. I actually have never seen that.
Oh my goodness, really?
I'm missing out. I know. I got a guy who does videos with me, Sean, and I'm constantly on him because I'll bring up a movie and he's like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, dude, we have got to get you over here just for like, we got to get you caught up because he hasn't seen like Terminator. He hasn't seen Top Gun. Like he hasn't seen some movies that I feel are required watching, especially for adult males in today's age.
I made my 19-year-old watch Apocalypto.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'll have to check it out.
I was like, you have to see that. Now, it's a rough movie, and I have all girls.
Okay.
Oh, it is a rough movie. It's not something that you think a female would say, oh, yeah, you got to see this movie.
Yeah.
It's rough. You know, it's the Mayans. They're cutting people's heads off. It's rolling down.
Oh, the Mel Gibson one.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah. No, I have not had a chance to see that, but I've heard some really good things about it. I have heard some really good reviews.
It was a good movie. Yeah, it was good. But yeah, so I like movies like that.
Okay. So why? Well, first of all, you kind of said what led you to run for office. Why treasurer specifically? And more importantly, why you?
Well, the treasurer's office is the most dysfunctional office in the county.
Okay.
And that's just bare bones facts.
Yeah.
It's just a hot mess. I
think a lot of people would agree. Those that are not, at least those that are not attempting to defend someone. If you look at things objectively, there are some real issues there. Recently discovered CDs and money audits that weren't right, and a lot of blame being shoved around. Ultimately, though, okay, so
and you got to know, I hear things because I am married to the commissioner.
Right.
So I hear all the troubles and all the things that are going on, the ins and outs.
Right.
And then when I talk to people in public and I hear their complaints, just being a regular citizen, and I hear how people are treated, these things should never happen. People should not be treated this way when they come to our treasurer's office and they're treated like trash. We shouldn't treat people this way.
I have heard some concerns about the customer service
so you shouldn't treat
of
people
that
way.
office.
So, it's just a whole array of problems. And like I said, it's the most dysfunctional office in the county. And I'm waiting for years for somebody to step up and say, I'm going to fix this mess. I'm going to do something. The citizens deserve better. The county deserves better.
We do.
And nobody is, nobody's willing to fix this mess.
Right.
I'm like, I can fix this mess. I've got ideals. I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm very intuitive when it comes to a lot of things, and I have ideals, and I'm like, I can implement these ideals. I'm like, yeah, I could totally do this. So,
okay. So what sort of changes would you make?
Well, I will say this too, and I'm kind of upset because my main thing is I wanted that third-party audit.
Okay.
Audit is super important to me because we really need that audit. We need a forensic audit bad.
Okay.
And I'm just upset because as soon as I start barking third-party audit, then I get primaried last minute.
Well, so kind of playing devil's advocate for a minute. I have heard from people that say, well, we shouldn't have to pay for a third-party audit. That should be something.
We pay already, State Board of Accounts.
Right.
Okay.
Right. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's not like we aren't already paying when they go through and audit us. So why shouldn't we pay for quality? And we would get more. Okay. We would get more for our money.
Right. So then we'd have an opportunity for an experienced and certified firm or whatever.
And we would have somebody that's totally not associated with our county. So if we could get somebody that's totally distanced from that, then I think that it would be not only fair, but I think we would get more for our money.
Right. Right. And I understand that. It
Well,
seems that the majority of the people that I've talked to that are against or at least question an independent outside audit are concerned about the cost to the taxpayer, which I
right.
think is a legitimate question and a legitimate concern to bring up. But like you said, a lot of people don't realize that we already pay
Yeah.
the SBOA or State Board of Accounts.
And we would get other services. So we wouldn't just get what State Board of Account offers. There would also be other services included. So
Right. Right.
so
Which I think, okay, so independent audit by, an outside party, one not connected to
and I would
anyone in
have
the
to look into
office.
that and see who would be best suited for that. I'm not sure who that would be, but I would definitely find out who would be best suited for that. And I
Yeah.
would also have to find out what other services they offer and
Okay.
which services we would need for that. I'm not sure, but I know I would figure that out.
Okay. What other changes would you like to see implemented?
Well, I definitely want to get our website up to date. I want to move forward with our website and get it up to date because
Right.
our website is pretty atrocious now.
Yeah, it's
In
pretty
fact,
outdated.
they were talking about it on one of the websites today about the $44 fee on there for bill pay online. There's
Oh,
got to be
yeah.
a better way for that. There's got to be
Right.
something that they can do to fix that.
Yeah.
And that's just they're not you can work with other companies or other service
Mhm.
personnel to fix that.
Even NIPSCO's only I think $8 to pay online or something.
Yeah.
Like $44 is crazy
Yeah. So
as a charge.
I know there's other companies too that put together websites. And I'm sure that we can find other companies that would be willing to put together a decent website for us that would offer services. We just need to figure it out.
Right. And I don't know who currently does the website, but there are a number of very qualified local businesses and even residents with those skills who would do a better job than what we currently have, in my opinion.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not sure who, but I mean, that would be something that I'm sure we would probably have to bid out. But I'm sure that we can find somebody that is qualified that would make our website shine. And it would be perfect for the citizens. It would have our stats on there. It would be up to date. It would offer, all the services that they need. It would have information on there about what's going on in the treasurer's office.
Right.
Information that the public wants to know.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of not just people running for office, but citizens really underestimate how valuable an online resource is that's available all the time. It gives you the pertinent information and you can check it on the go. It's not always convenient to call the office to check hours or even, Google the hours of operation. It's much easier to have something that directs you to a website that has, like you said, pertinent information on it.
Right.
That is like filing dates and, stuff like that, deadlines of various sorts.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to switch gears here real quick because I want to go back to, you said you grew up on a sugar farm.
Yeah.
Right? In Florida?
Yeah. South Florida. Yeah. Right
South
around Lake
Florida.
Okeechobee. Yeah.
So right by the Everglades.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I am actually very familiar with the swamp, although in Louisiana it's called the Bayou. Yeah. And it's a completely different. A lot of people just don't get, you can see it on TV and it's still not the same. The smell, the oppressive air. It's a very different environment.
Yeah. In the fall, it's way different down there. You got all the bag ash from the sugar mill and it smells weird. And then you got all the bag ash falling from the sky and it's all over your cars and it's pretty annoying. People are washing their cars a lot because it falls on your cars and it's not fun, but it's life down in Florida when it's harvest season and the plants in full swing. But it's life in Florida, and there's a lot of creatures in the sugar cane. We have otter, bear, panther, bobcats, water moccasins are in the canals.
Mhm.
Just all kind of creatures.
And pythons now too, since people
Oh,
release
yeah,
so
well,
many.
people
Yeah.
turn them loose, and but it's funny. They were eating the alligators out there.
Right? Isn't that wild? I've seen the pictures. I've had friends and family that are that live down in Florida, and they're like, dude, you're never gonna believe this. I came across a python that ate a gator. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they were eating alligators. It's crazy, but I spent my life on that farm from the time I was 3 years old. We moved there when I was 3, until I married Joe.
So what brought you up here? Did you guys meet down there, or did you meet up here, or?
We met online.
Okay. All right. So did you were you living down there and then moved to connect, or?
Joe actually moved.
Okay.
He moved to Palm Beach, actually.
Oh, all right. All right.
And then
Swanky.
Yeah, and then I cut him off because I thought he was a serial killer.
Did you see his picture that he used for his? No, I'm just kidding. He looks very Undertaker-ish in that photo.
He tracked me down because we had talked, and I said, "Oh, you look like your picture. You're kind of cute. Maybe I'll talk to you some more." Mm-hmm. So then I started talking to him again.
Nice.
And we had our first date on December 1st, and then March 1st we got engaged, and May 17th we got married.
Oh, look at that!
And the next month we will be married for 23 years.
23. Wow.
And
wow.
And everybody said we were crazy. And we got married at 8 a.m. In the morning.
Okay. I mean, it's far too early for me. I'm not much of a morning person, but a lot of that is just because I did night shift for so long. It just kind of wore into me. But
everybody said we were crazy, and nobody really wanted us to get married because they said it was too fast. We didn't know each other, and But when you know it's right, it's right.
So what brought you guys up here?
First job.
Okay.
Yep, just job, and then we.
And how long have you lived here in LaPorte County?
Since 2002, we lived in Indiana. So we've lived in LaPorte County since 2014.
Okay, so you lived in Indiana for over 20 years, and then over 10 years now in LaPorte County, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We just kept moving this way.
Right. Yeah. Where'd you guys kind of start, from Southern Indiana and work your way up, or?
No, actually, we started out in we didn't have a place to live when we moved up here, so we were in an extended stay in Maryville.
Okay.
for like 2 weeks. That's where we stayed because we didn't have a place to live. It was just a quick move.
Right.
When he took the job up here, and then we got an apartment in Highland. And then we bought our first house in Hammond, and then we moved to Portage, and then we moved here.
See, I didn't even know you guys lived in Hammond at some point. Yeah, my wife's from Hammond, Munster. As you probably know, she talks to you more than but I didn't even know that. You learn something new.
We had a little house off of 173rd Place.
Nice. Okay. I'm not nearly as familiar with Hammond as she is, but it's an interesting, I'm sure it's very different now because there have been a lot of changes in Hammond over the last 10 years. And combining schools and all the stuff that's going on with the water department there, and just a whole bunch of stuff.
I think the mayor's still the mayor over there, though.
He's been the mayor the whole time, right?
No,
or him or his dad, one of the two, have been mayor since the dawn of time.
I know. It's like the mayor's still the mayor, because every time I go, we're like, wait, he's still the mayor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. So what do you think is the biggest thing facing LaPorte County, as far as not necessarily even political, but the biggest issue that? Because one of the things that we've seen consistently is LaPorte County's not really growing population wise. If anything, we're kind of losing a few people every year. Not a lot. I mean, it's not like we're draining, but we are kind of.
You know what I think? I think they need to get some stuff for the kids to do. I think that's a big issue. And I mean, I'm a mother. I have 3 kids and they're teenagers. And what is there for them to do?
There's not much. I mean, unless you're going to get involved in trouble.
Exactly.
There's not a lot for like teenagers to do. Yeah. When we lived in LaPorte, that was one of the things that we talked about because we had teenagers, and it's like, well, what is there to do here? Yeah. They only recently within the last, like, I think it's like 5 years or so, they opened that pool hall over there that I think is open to teens. And that's it. Like the roller rink closed. Yeah. There's
not really anything for the kids to do. And then, the kids end up getting in trouble, and, there's drugs running amok, and, it's not good. When kids are idle, then they get in trouble. So I think that's true. We need more things for teens and young adults to do that will keep them, occupied and doing positive things.
Yeah. One of the big, like, concerns, like LaPorte, Michigan City. Yeah. Like, there's
theater,
your main retailers, but a lot of LaPorte County is rural.
Yeah.
Like vast amounts of it.
So and what did we do when we were teenagers? We went out in the field and we got drunk.
Right. And, a lot of my friends ended up either getting pregnant or getting someone pregnant, during that. I
have a 26-year-old and I'm 45. When did I have her?
Right. Exactly. So there are better ways that we can kind of guide the youth's energy. At least Michigan City has the beach. I will say that. And, true. There's positives and negatives associated with that. But
if we can find more things for our youth to do and more programs for our youth to be involved in, I think that would be a big positive for LaPorte.
I agree. We don't even have a water park anymore. They had the water park that was out.
And we used to go there a lot. I did utilize that with the kids. I mean, we were there at least two times a week during the summer. Sometimes 3 times a week. I had the pass. So we would go to the zoo and then we would go to the water park. Yeah, I utilized that.
Yeah. So, and that's like the zoo. Not a lot. There are some people who are very vocal criticizers of the Michigan City Zoo.
And I like the zoo. I asked my daughter, I asked her 2 days ago. I said, do you want to get a family pass to the zoo? Because my youngest daughter, is very introverted. She'll be 18 in August, and it's very difficult for me to get her to leave the house. Okay. She does have some issues, and she will not leave the house.
Right.
So I asked her, if I got a pass, would you come to the zoo with me?
Yeah.
And she says, yeah, maybe. I said, okay, are you saying, yeah, maybe I get a pass and you won't go with me?
Right.
So, I might, I'm going to probably get the pass anyway.
Yeah.
And, I'll be hopeful that she'll go with me.
I loved the zoo when I was a teen. Even as there's that weird period between when you're a little kid and then, you're an adult or at least really close to an adult. There's that weird, awkward period where you think everything sucks as a kid. And you're like, no, that's
right? Boring. Yeah.
Yeah. Or everything's boring. I actually really enjoyed the zoo, but one of my favorite things at the zoo was the observation tower.
Yeah, I showed her that. I was like, look, this is so cool.
I don't know if they've changed it, but the last I heard, it was closed off and you can't go in there.
No.
Because I guess it needs, my understanding, and I don't know for sure, but the last I heard, it needs repairs.
Oh.
And so they have it just closed off. Because I used to love going up to the top of the observation tower and then you could see for miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that place.
And I love animals. So the zoo is great for me because animals are like my whole heart. Like, because I just don't love cats. I love all animals.
Okay.
Like, one day I hope to rescue horses. And I am a big advocate also for the horses out west because I believe they are a national treasure.
Yeah.
And I am in close contact. Well, I used to be in close contact with Jackie when she held office.
Okay.
With that. because I do advocate for those horses out there.
Nice.
BLM is a terrible organization. That's
And you're referring to Bureau of Land Management.
Yes, Bureau of Land Management. Yes.
Yep.
It's what they're doing is an atrocity.
You know what? BLM, Bureau of Land Management, is a perfect example of government messing stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah, it is. I'm just, it's terrible. Like, if you actually get in there and see what they're doing, they're violating their own rules. So many foals have died over the past 2-3 roundups that they've had. It's tragic. It is so tragic. I've reached out to Rudy Yocum. And I've told him about what's going on, and there's a bunch of bills that they're trying to pass now to protect them. So I advocate for them in that way, and I also try to spread the word and the message and get it out there, because not a lot of people know what's going on.
No. Well, and that can be chalked up to a variety of reasons, but I think the simplest thing is that we, as voters, as taxpayers, there's so much to keep track of. And there are so many of these rogue government organizations.
That's your tax dollars.
Precisely. Yes. And unfortunately, there's just so much information that no one person can know all of it. Yeah.
That's why it's good for us as citizens to pay attention, to find things that you have a heart for and that you're interested in, and pay attention to these things, stay up to date, and let the right people know what's going on. Because I'm paying attention right now. The VA is doing experiments again on cats. They're Stoke 7, and they are using your tax dollars right now. They haven't secured the cats, but they have the funding for it, and they're looking for 7 cats to do more experiments on for the VA. And those experiments have never, ever, ever yielded anything good. And those animals are tortured for nothing.
Yeah, that's like the beagles that they did with the NIH. Yeah, it's horrific.
And I advocated for them as well, because animals don't deserve that at all.
Right. Animals are innocent. They yeah, I agree.
We are at a point in time in our society. We're in 2024. There are better ways than what they are doing. We don't need to torture animals to learn these things anymore.
Right.
We don't.
Right. And it would be, I have friends who are much less, I don't want to use bleeding heart, but much less concerned about the welfare of animals if there are real benefits to be gained.
Right. But there's not.
But there's not. Exactly. It made a lot of people's, gut reaction is, well, yeah, but humans could take priority. Okay, but there's no evidence that this even produces anything.
And it has not. Yeah, it has not, because we've seen this for years. I mean, literally decades, and it has yielded nothing. So it's time for it to stop.
And
it needs to.
Yeah, and there are far, far better uses of our tax dollars than that. Yeah. And that's one reason I think where it's really, really important for people to be informed. And that's one of the reasons I do this, to give people a chance to learn about the person that could potentially be running an office in, your county, your state, your federal government, because it's important. In my opinion, it's really, really important to learn about people and see who they really are.
Yeah. I try to advocate for things that can't speak for themselves.
Right. Which I believe a society should be judged on how they treat the weakest amongst them. Right. Not only the animals, but the
elderly.
Yeah. The elderly, the intellectually disabled, the people who cannot care for themselves, the animals that cannot care for themselves.
Yeah.
We are. How do we treat them?
For the voiceless.
And
we should advocate for those who cannot.
Right. So if people, I scroll it across the bottom. But if people want to learn about you, they can go to your Facebook page, Juanita for Treasurer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's an interesting time in the political world, because I think that a lot of people, a lot more even, because like, in my opinion, every couple of years, every year, we have more people, for lack of a better term, waking up to the sheer amount of not just corruption. I believe that a lot of our elected officials, both at the really high up and at the local level, it's not necessarily bought off or this. In many cases, they're simply inept.
Yeah.
And I'm not pointing to anyone specifically, but I believe that a lot of us are doing what we can to do our due diligence, learning about candidates so that we can vote the proper person in. What do you think is the most important trait to someone running for office?
Integrity.
Okay. I can get with that. Yeah. That's a pretty simple answer. I expected you to think about it for a minute. I was like, go take a drink and give you a pause. Integrity. Yep. I love it.
Yeah. Integrity.
And unfortunately, it's something that is really lacking in like all levels of our government.
It's disappointing.
It is.
It's disheartening. Yeah.
But that's one of the things that you want to change.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I didn't just decide to up and run this office spur of the moment. This is something that I've thought about long and hard. And, I put my speech up there on my treasurer page. And I mean every word of that. I mean that wholeheartedly. This wasn't a decision made lightly. This was a decision that I thought about. And I said, somebody's got to do something. And, we have to fix this. We have to.
I agree.
LaPorte is in dire need of resuscitation.
Yeah.
We are hemorrhaging. I mean, we are like a gunshot victim in there.
Right.
And we are hemorrhaging money that, we are just, I worked in the OR, so we are just bleeding out and we need help. And we have to do something.
I could not agree more. I think that we have
life support soon.
Right. Yeah. We have a situation, unfortunately, where whether it's intentional or not, it doesn't really matter. We have years and years, if not decades, of issues. Yeah. Whether that's ineptitude, whether that's corruption, whether that's, and
at this point, it doesn't matter. It has to be fixed. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. It doesn't matter where it originated. It doesn't matter who's responsible. Ultimately, what we need are people in office that are willing and able to fix it and move us forward.
Need to stop the craziness. We need to communicate with one another.
Yeah.
We need to be willing to work together for the good of the people, because that's what elected officials are supposed to do.
Right. And one of the things that I have seen that kind of that concerns me really moving forward is we used to have at least a semblance of a working government, a semblance, like people may not agree, but they could at least have a discussion. There were, now we see it all over, not just during meetings, but like online with the social media, the snarky comments, the vicious attacks. It's like, I wonder I wonder whether people actually want, and by people, I mean certain elected officials, not necessarily the general public, because the general public, we want a working government. We want this stuff.
They deserve a working government.
We do deserve it. We pay like way too much in taxes. Is the short version. Way too much in taxes. So
that's what they elect you for.
Right. These people get elected for the purpose of doing their job. And in many cases, that job is either not getting done or getting farmed out to
people who still aren't doing the job.
Yeah, people who still don't do the job but collect additional tax money to do said job so they can farm it out to other places. It's silly. It's absolutely silly. And so let me ask you this. Do you, like, at the treasurer's office, does the treasurer's office have any direct control over the bidding process? Or is that a separate entity?
I think that goes to the commissioners.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So the treasurer, a lot of the misunderstandings right now are like what the auditor controls and what the treasurer controls. And can you shed some insight on that?
So I don't think that the people understand working government, first of all.
No, many don't.
I think that I think when they gave government in high school, a lot of people were absent that year.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because when people don't understand how government works and then they get mad about stuff, that's not good.
Right.
So the auditor's office and the treasurer's office work together.
Okay.
And the commissioners control like the buildings and stuff like that. She's so mad. She wants.
I know. I hear a little. Getting angry.
Yeah. She's trapped in this room because she can't leave because she's got the baby. But so the commissioners control the buildings, but they also they vote on other things too. But the council is the one who controls the spending.
Right.
So they release the funds, and then they also do the appropriations for the treasurer. So,
okay.
Yes. So the treasurer cannot take money out of one bank or another bank without the proper appropriations from the council.
Okay. So in order for the treasurer to move funds, the council has to approve it. They have to say, okay, do this in this way, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But then the auditor audits all the bills.
Right. So if the treasurer, for like one of the issues that's come up recently is there's a lot of accusations that are flying around about this account hasn't been balanced and there were incorrect figures. One of the things that seems to be the case, and this is as an outsider looking in, so I'm not sure how accurate this is, but one of the things that I've discovered looking into this is, yes, the auditor audits, but without accurate information from the treasurer, they can't do their job correctly. Is that a good summation?
Yeah, that is. And what happened with this money is, our current treasurer, and I believe this is what was happening. I believe she was taking money out of certain bank accounts and putting them in other bank accounts without those proper appropriations. Therefore, the council didn't know what was in the banks. So when they were making these saying, okay, well, we can do this with this funds, they were expecting the money to be in those banks, but the money wasn't there because the treasurer had already moved them out of the bank into another bank without the proper appropriations.
Gotcha.
So I think that's what was going on.
So then when the auditor goes to say, okay, we have X amount in this account, the figures aren't accurate because the money's not there because it was moved.
Proper appropriation.
Yeah.
And then now we have $618,000 out of one bank that nobody knows where it went and why.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And I want people to understand that I'm not saying that this money is missing.
No, it's somewhere. We just don't know where.
Right. We just don't know where. I don't think anybody necessarily ran off with it. I think that you know what? It's funny because the LaPorte County or the LaPorte Community School Corporation had a very similar situation where there's all this money. The money's not missing per se, but it is unable to be identified. They went through this whole, and again, SBOA, State Board of Accounts, went through the books, and even they're unable to reconcile. They went through it and they're like, this makes no sense. We can't tell you where this money is. This, multiple millions of dollars.
Because they're only going off of what the information that they get from that office.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Now, one thing, okay, so in the case of the LaPorte Community Schools, right? Allegedly they hired an independent firm to do an independent audit, and even they couldn't reconcile it. So is this a case where we may end up paying for an independent audit that doesn't get us any closer to resolution?
I really hope that that's not the case, but I want to go back far enough, so
Okay.
I'm thinking that maybe if we go back like 10 years.
Okay. So just do a full decade's worth of.
I want to do a full forensic audit that goes back 10 years.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm hoping that if we go back far enough, just do the last till 2019 or whatever. I want to go back 10 years.
Okay.
And do a full forensic audit.
Right. So, and for those wondering, I know this is kind of new with the kitty.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I love cats. For those of you who maybe aren't used to the scrolling thing at the bottom, I'm doing it for all the candidates so you can, where to find them. But I'm also doing it because just because someone comes on my show doesn't mean they agree with me or that I agree with them. There are going to be things that anyone doesn't agree with. And I want to make sure that it doesn't hurt candidates because I'm just a guy with a camera and a microphone. I am not anybody's campaign manager. I'm not any of that. I'm just trying to give people an opportunity. I think it's important for people to understand that just because someone's on my show doesn't mean that they're endorsing my show or that I'm endorsing them. We're just having a conversation because people just are kind of silly nowadays. They try to pick apart anything and everything. God forbid you sit down and have a conversation with someone without getting, vitriolic and full of grr. So yeah, that's why that's there. And I think it's important that people know that. I wanted to at least tell them, and I kind of bounce back and forth just in case you happen to see it. So they can learn about you on Facebook. But we're running out of time I know our early voting's open now. So if you want to go and vote, by all means, but actual voting day, we still have a couple of weeks.
Yeah. May 7th.
Yeah. And since we're obviously the Republican primary, most of us tend to vote on election day unless there's something that's going to prevent that.
I would say don't wait till election day.
Okay.
Go vote because you never know what can happen between now and election day. And I always say that. And I worked early voting for a while.
Okay.
It's safe. It's secure. Don't worry about it. Go vote.
I will say at least here in LaPorte County, I can't speak to other counties or other areas, but in LaPorte County, I have seen no difference between voting on election day and early voting with the way it's set up here in LaPorte County.
I believe in our county and I believe in our county's voting. So, and I've worked the election. I've worked mobile voting. I've worked in an early voting location. And
okay.
Yeah, I've done both. Mm-hmm. And we are good. We do it just like we do on election day. And I've worked all the election days as well. Those are very long days, guys.
They are.
And so thank a poll worker when you go to vote because that's a very long day.
Yeah. And I you know what? I want to mention this because I think it's important. There have been, and it doesn't matter who, but there have been elected officials who disparage the voting team and say, well, you don't work hard anyway.
No,
I've been a poll watcher. I've been involved in it. It is very, very long hours, 4 a.m. to 6 or 7 at night.
Day.
Yeah, it's a long day. And there's no, all these locations, it's not like you guys can just run to McDonald's.
No, we can't leave.
You can't leave. There's no food. There's no, you might have something in the mini fridge, maybe that you can pop in the microwave if you get 5 minutes, which you don't.
Yeah. Bring what you got. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's important for people to understand that because our poll workers, and it's regardless of party, you got to have one from each.
Yep.
So, yeah. So both sides, it doesn't matter.
We get along with each other.
Exactly. Which another thing is crazy, right?
Yeah. I loved everyone I've ever worked with. And I still stay in contact with them, believe it or not.
Right?
Yeah.
It is possible to disagree with someone and still get along with them and still be friendly with them.
Yeah, I do. So.
Okay. So Why should they vote for you over any other candidate?
Well, I'm the best choice.
Okay.
No. All kidding aside, I have a heart and passion for LaPorte County, their citizens, and this office right now because it's on life support. And I really, really, really want to save this office.
Okay.
So, I can't say it any more plainly when I say this is the most dysfunctional office in LaPorte County and it's on life support.
Yeah. I have heard a number of very concerning things about various offices, not just this one, but this one is
the worst.
Really, really important that
and
we get, that we get someone good in there so that this office can start getting fixed.
And I am willing to put in the time. It's going to be challenging. I'm not going to tell you no lies. It's going to be challenging, and it's not going to happen overnight. What I am going to be facing when I get in that office is going to be very challenging.
Right.
And I'm up for the challenge, and I'm going to face it head on. I like challenges.
You're a fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that people may not know about you. You're very strong-willed. You're very,
when I believe in something, my baby.
Oh my cats. Oh, there we go. See, what's the name?
This is Sammy.
Sammy. Oh my goodness. How adorable.
She's a baby still. But yeah, when I believe in something, I stand up for what's right. And it doesn't matter who you are. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And if it's black and white, we have rules for a reason. Follow the rules. It's not that hard.
Right.
Follow the rules.
No one is above the law, right?
We have rule books and we should follow the rules, and they're there for a reason.
They are. And in many cases, I do believe that there are areas that things could be improved, but that's a process that needs to go through the quote proper process.
Yeah.
Go through if you can figure out a way to streamline something, you bring it up and get it fixed. But the way that things were set up for a reason. And in many cases, at least in my opinion, we need to kind of go backwards as far as the implementation of our office. Our government has grown beyond any reasonable measure, and it's affecting every aspect of our lives at this point. And that was not how the government of the United States or the states were designed. It was designed to be a very hands-off government that allowed people to experience their freedoms, pursue the American dream, and not be burdened by things like constant overbearing taxes or federal overreach. So
no, and we have a good county. We have good citizens in it.
We do. I love LaPorte County. That's what I was going to ask. What's your favorite thing about LaPorte County?
Deluxe.
What is it?
We have an ice cream shop here, and I've cut back on a lot of sugar, but I grew up on a sugar farm, so
that's true.
So I still like sweets. So I like Deluxe.
Oh, Deluxe. Okay.
Yeah, I like Deluxe, and so I don't go there as much as I would like to, but that's probably good because I'm trying to still continue to lose weight. But a treat now and then is good. So
it's a constant battle, at least for me.
Yeah, it's nice to go with the family, so it's a nice treat with the family. But I like Deluxe, and I like going to the beach. It's not like the Florida beaches.
Yeah.
But I do like to go to the beach. Well, when I was in Florida, I only went to the beach at night.
Why? Too hot during the day, or just
the
sand, man. The sand will burn your feet.
I used to be a very pale girl. So I've actually gotten dark since I moved to Indiana. Well, darker.
You'd think you'd be darker in Florida, right?
Yeah, I was very pale in Florida. Actually, my nickname was LaMorte.
What does that mean?
The dead.
That's what I thought. I didn't want to say it, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, LaMorte. Because I was a very, 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 very pale girl.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how, for a long time, when I was especially when I was driving truck, my legs, I always wore, jeans, and my legs were just blinding, but my arm, because you rested up there, it was all dark. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm darker than I've ever been in my whole life, actually, living up here. And yeah, I don't know why. I just am, which is really weird. And then when I'm in the sun, I get all these freckles, and I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I like the beach. I don't do well with extreme heat. I get heat headaches.
I'm with you. I do not. It's one of the reasons I moved away from Louisiana is because I don't like super hot. As a matter of fact, like anything above like 70, I get like uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get
me personally. My wife hates it because I keep the house like frigid all year long.
Yeah, Joe and I are totally opposite. Actually, I used to stay hot, and recently, and it's kind of funny because I told my doctor this because she's like, "Well, is anything different or whatever?" I'm like, I'm cold recently.
Oh no, yeah, everything changes.
She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, I expect you to have hot flashes." I'm like, "No, I've been hot my whole life. I'm cold now." She's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's so weird." And I tell her, "Oh, I'm cold. I'm cold. I'm cold."
It's funny. It's actually funny that you say that. Because I've been hot my whole life too. And like, I think like maybe a year ago, I started I was freezing just and I've never been like cold.
The so I wonder if it's go at me. They're like, "Where's your coat?" And I'm like, "I'm just going from the car to the store. I don't need a coat."
Yeah, exactly. I love I would rather be cold than hot because you can only take off so many clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly.
I'm cold. I'm like, this is so weird. Like it's an unusual experience for me. So
right. That's how I was. I'm like, what is going on here? At least for me, it was because I was sick. Right. I was sick for a few days, and I the only time I seem to get cold is when I'm not feeling well, which is kind of weird. But that even that only started recently.
Yeah, my doctor thinks my hormones are changing with my age. So
yeah, so instead of hot flashes, you're getting cold flashes.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird, but Joe's making fun of me. So
right, hey, you know what? Maybe they'll pay you tons and tons of money to be able to do experiments.
Because I'm weird, yeah.
Right. Being weird though is
I'm weird. Leave it to me to be the weird one.
Well, you know what? Being weird is what is phenomenal about this country, in my opinion. We need more weird people. Weird people are who drive all of the advances, all of the major developments. I mean, if you look back at the Industrial Revolution, the people who started that were weird. Yeah. I mean, they were they were off. Edison was Tesla, he was an odd duck. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I embrace it. I mean, I am who I am. I can't be anything different. And, not everybody's going to like me. And I'm okay with that because, not everybody's for everyone. And I'm okay with that. There are personality conflicts. That's a thing that exists. Mm-hmm. And that's okay too. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. It happens. Just don't go do hate speech behind my back. That's fine. Yeah. Let's be adults.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If you're going to talk, let's have, an adult conversation between each other instead of, going around talking ridiculous stuff behind your back. I'm right there with you. And it's absolutely possible, once again, to disagree with someone and have a conversation with them.
Yep. And I believe that.
So thank you very much for taking the time out. We appreciate it. I hope that the viewers have learned something about you they did not know. That's always my goal, is to have people learn about the people that are on their ballot. I know for a fact that we need a change in the treasurer's office. So,
and I just want what's best for LaPorte County. And when I get elected, I will be for all the citizens. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat, independent, or a zebra.
Right. Hey, don't forget about those libertarians. They get mad when you don't name them when you're naming parties.
And the libertarians.
We got one in particular. I'm not going to name him, but he gets very, very upset if you're like, there's more than two parties.
And you too, Mr. Libertarian. I know who you are.
Exactly. We're thinking about you too. So again, thank you very much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Good luck. good luck.
I appreciate it. I'm going to give it all I got, and I'm coming for them.
Absolutely. So I hope you have a wonderful evening, and go pet the kitties. Pet the kitty cats.
Yes, absolutely. She's wanting some attention. I know she can't wait to get out of this room. She wants to go play with the other cats, and
right,
because she's still a kitten.
Yeah, they're oh my God, pets are just, especially I have a weakness for black cats. I don't know why, but little black kitty cats just like they're my soft spot. So
I'd show you the baby, but it's sleeping.
Oh, it's okay. All right. I hope you have a wonderful night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Good night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Juanita Haney for LaPorte County Treasurer. I've known Juanita, though not like super close. No, see, the wife just came in here and said no more cats. No cats. No. We you know what? We have space for one. No. I don't know if you hear her, but she is absolutely laying down the line. No more cats. But yet I bet if she ran across a goat, that thing would come home. She's been threatening to get a goat. Anyway, to learn more about Juanita Haney and to see if she's worthy of your vote, go to her Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Juanita for Treasurer. Just go to the search bar. Sometimes, I found those links, like when you try to put it in like that, they don't always work that well. But this is the page that you're looking for. I'm going to show you. I try to do this all the time because I found that like sometimes it's an issue. So this is the page you're looking for, Juanita for Treasurer. So you can learn more about her there and reach out. I'm pretty sure she said this, but just in case, she is always available to answer questions and learn more about her and what like her priorities for office are. I think getting an independent audit is probably one of the best ideas I've heard. I have heard other candidates for other offices, not just this one, but I've heard other candidates talk about, how important this aspect is or that aspect, but she's the only one that I've heard talk about the critical importance of an external audit because guys, just look at LaPorte County Schools. They said, we had this independent audit and they weren't able to find the problem. And then they hired a new superintendent, which I guess used to work for the schools, but is back. And within like days, all of a sudden they claimed the problem was fixed, that it was just a software glitch. I personally, I'm not going to get too deep into this because I'm hijacking this, but the importance is independent audit prevents issues like this. So personally, I'm really leaning towards this candidate. We got a whole bunch of candidates coming up. Make sure that you check either the Facebook or X account for @Dion's Daily Dose to see if there's a show coming up that you want to watch. That is all for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. I do truly appreciate it. And I hope that you find these interesting and that you learn something. So without further ado, God bless you. God bless Indiana. And God bless the United States of America. Good night, everybody.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.